With an illustrious career in showbiz spanning more than 15 years, our next guest is no stranger to audiences in South Africa and beyond. Having presented on numerous shows, acting and making waves on numerous radio frequencies, Relebogile Mabotja has pushed the boundaries by doing all that and running successful businesses. She also mentors young upcoming talent at her Relebogile Mabotja Foundation. This year, she bagged the award for Best Commercial News Bulletin Reader at the South African Radio Awards and Women in Media Award, and was overall winner at the 2020 Women of Stature Awards. We put her under the spotlight this morning as she joins us to tell us how she does this all and still stays on top of her game. Relebogile joins us live. Relebogile, thank you so much for joining us on Weekend Dawn. Appreciate it. My first, obviously, question is, how do you manage to do all of this? Media personality, business lady, and you've even got a foundation?
I don't actually have an answer because I sometimes don't know how I managed to do all of this, but I think I would say that I have a great support around me. I have a great team, and I survive on very little sleep, and that's part because I'm crazy and maybe part because I'm just a faithful person.
Now, let's take it back a little. Did you always know or always have that calling to do something in media?
I think I was always a creative and an artist. I mean, as long as I can remember, I was singing and performing, and those are the stories that my family and parents would share with anybody about me. I just never could fathom that it would be something that I could do for a living and could be paid to be doing. So I think as I got older, because I was so academic, it was always, maybe I'll be a doctor or a lawyer or an actuarial scientist. But when the first opportunity came for me to be performing professionally, I took it while I was in high school and, went against the grain by just not actually completing school formally as other matriculants do. And I haven't looked back ever since.
Oh, wow. What a story to tell. I mean, sometimes media, it just gives somebody a calling, and I'm sure you've got the talent and you've got all the aura that comes with it. Now, my next question is, I followed your journey since the days of radio, when you started in radio. What's next for you now?
Well, I'm obviously developing my businesses. I mean, we've got a show that's going to be coming out on Mnet that I'm executive producing, Single Wives. It's a format which I think will definitely resonate with South African women who have been married and are looking to explore loving again. And then, of course, I'm still continuing to do some work with my foundation, Relebogile Mabotja Foundation. I think we had to obviously redirect what we're doing because of COVID-19, which has shifted a little bit from the mentorships and working with young girls, and rather to direct support to relief. People don't have basic things like food and electricity and data while they're waiting for other relief funds to come through. So that'll definitely be on the table. Then with Relebogile Media, I think I still think it's important to have representation in spaces in the music industry, in the media industry. So from my perspective, it's really trying to push the boundaries and to sort of show what it is we can do as a publishing house, as a music production company, and to find ways to work a little bit smarter considering the restrictions that we are under.
And that actually brings me to my next question. I wanted to ask how the idea of the foundation came about, and is it easy to run a foundation?
The idea of a foundation actually was sitting years before it came into fruition, because I've always supported, since my early school days where there were outreach programs, there was always something I was doing, and I kind of said, I want to think about what kind of legacy I want to leave behind. I think about my name and what I'd want people to be saying about me when I'm gone. And I said, okay, where can I give back? A lot of people have given me a hand. How can I put these things together? Running a foundation is challenging in the sense that there is a lot of admin if you're going to do it properly. So I always try to let people know that, NPOs, NPCs, there's a lot of admin. But at the same time, a lot of people are willing to help. Often I just ask and people come through for me, whether we're supporting an orphanage or a home. I think a lot of the time people just don't know how to help or where to help. So I'm figuring out how to make it easier for people to help and how to make it easier for people to have access to myself and my resources so that we can assist them. And that's basically it. it, it is challenging, but it's very fulfilling work. It's not something that you come into to say, you know, I'm going to make big money. It's really something that you're like, I'm giving back, I'm doing something for my heart. And my late aunt always used to say, you cannot receive with an closed hand, you receive with an open hand, which obviously means you must be giving. And I think that's quite reflective in the way my life is developing and turning out, is that I'm extremely blessed.
Let's talk a little about your acting journey. I mean, the likes of Rhythm City and Isidingo. What's next on the acting platforms? Can we expect you to be in a Hollywood blockbuster soon?
You know, I'm learning to just ride the wave of the way my journey is taking me. I mean, there's so many things I'm doing now I never thought I would be doing. With acting, because I've got a lot on my plate, it's almost like if the right role comes along at the right time, I will definitely grab it by the horns. 2 years ago, I traveled to New York, and, you know, I was staying right next to Broadway, and I was just thinking how my heart misses performing on stage. So at this stage, what I can say is, you know, I will continue to put out to the universe that I be on projects that I can serve on, and I hope acting will be one of them, as with, you know, theater production, as with being on radio, as with producing shows. Right now, I'm just surrendering to where the universe and where God thinks I need to be and where I should be serving.
My parting question, Relebogile, what would your advice be or your comments be on the current COVID-19 pandemic, which is affecting a lot of artists out there, musicians, actresses and actors, etc. How are you coping, and what would your words of wisdom be to them on how to keep the light and the fire burning?
I know that a lot of the focus has been on finances and everybody's income, but I think we're not talking enough about the mental health aspect. We are, as creatives, I mean, we are sensitive, we're emotional, we are so many things. So beyond just, you know, paying bills, I think I would use this opportunity to speak about us giving a focus to the mental health aspect of people, of you being told don't go here, beyond the psychology of freaking out that there's a pandemic and you sneeze and you think, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. You know, there's bigger conversations that are to be had, is what are the support structures in place? Because I can't show up for anything if I'm not okay psychologically, emotionally. And I hope that artists, beyond us crying for money and support to survive financially, that we also are looking to support so that we can get through this mentally, psychologically, emotionally. So I think my opinion really is mental health needs to be addressed for everybody, not just people that we think, oh, you've been diagnosed with depression or you've been diagnosed with this. There are layers that have not been touched, and I hope we can take our creative spirits and direct into that kind of positive messaging. But I'm confident we will come out the other side.
Relebogile Mabotja, thank you so much for your time. What an absolute pleasure. That was a media personality and businesswoman, Relebogile Mabotja, chatting to us about all things media, entertainment, and of course media in our Artist Spotlight segment.